Good morning, everybody. Welcome to SoapboSlam, where I get on my soapbox and I slam the things that I see going on. Today's SoapboSlam is actually about trash, littering, what we do in our immediate environment. As I'm talking about this, I'm looking at the road and there's nothing but trash on the road. What we do to our immediate environment that is just unbelievably disrespectful to Mother Nature and Earth, right? So I had moved into this neighborhood, and it's an HOA neighborhood, and you are required to supply your own recycling bin and your own regular trash bin, right? There is recycling, and a recycling truck comes around, but you are not forced to recycle. It's just something that's suggested, and that's kind of the ordinance in pretty much the entire state of Illinois. There is a recycling option, and the recycling center is a separate trash center than your trash collectors, right? And nonetheless, in this HOA, you're required to supply your own dumpsters, your own trash bins. We take our trash bins out. There's no designated area, so you take it out to the edge of your driveway, and the trash people will come and pick it up. Well, in this particular neighborhood, the only area in the neighborhood, I can't specify who's doing it. I have no idea, but they didn't necessarily buy a trash bin, so they take their garbage bags, and I would assume, are buying very cheap garbage bags, so these garbage bags rip. Anyways, they take their garbage out, and it's not in a bin, it's just loose garbage bags, and they take them out and set them on the corner, and it always rips. There's wildlife that dig into it and tear it all up, and the trash ends up all over the place. I mean, it's disgusting. And I mean, we have complained to the HOA, we have complained, and it's not just me. I say we, and it's, several people in the neighborhood who live near this area, who we see it all the time, and we complain about it. We complain to the HOA. We've called the garbage companies. We're at our wits' end, and it's puzzling to understand how you live in a nice neighborhood and you throw your trash out. You see your trash all over the place. You know it's yours. When the garbage people come and it's all left behind, and you don't have the common decency to get out there and pick it up yourself. It's your trash, and you won't go out there and pick it up yourself. It's disgusting. I mean, it's stuff like this why certain people don't want to let people live in their neighborhoods. It's why you have so-called white flight. It's why you have, people who are in a certain class or think they're in a certain class, and another group of people want to move into the neighborhood, and they're completely reluctant and unwilling to want to live among those kind of people. I mean, I don't want to live among these kind of people. I don't know who's doing this, but you can't be oblivious to seeing your trash laying everywhere. It's your trash. You know your trash, and it's laying everywhere. So, I took some construction spray paint, and in the area in which the trash is all mound up, I wrote in huge construction spray paint on the ground, "This is disgusting and nasty. This is the only area in the entire neighborhood that has a trash problem. You people are nasty." I wrote a huge message on the pavement. It's construction spray paint. It'll wash out eventually. It's not permanent, but it'll wash out eventually. And I wrote that there because it is. And when I wrote that, it must have offended the people who were over there, because they started to pick up their trash a little bit more, and it was a lot cleaner than it had been prior to me writing this. But it's washed away. That was in the middle of the summer. People get lazy. It's cold weather now, and they resealed all of the asphalt and everything else. So, you know, it's back to the old habits again. People leaving their trash everywhere, and it's just being disgusting. And it's not just my particular neighborhood. I have no desire to live among these people. I do not want them in the neighborhood. They can't learn to pick up their trash and everything else. Imagine how they treat their house. Imagine how they treat their appliances. Imagine how they treat life in general, drive their cars and everything else. They're trashy people. Trash. And it's a perfect example of them. Trash. Absolute trash. Now, I'll go on and go one step further. You know, I lived in New York City for years, and I lived in Harlem, I lived in Brooklyn, and I lived in Lower Manhattan and some of the most hoity-toity areas that you could live in, the Village and Meatpacking District. And one of the most, like, I feel like where the spectrum went so far in Harlem and all these other places, in New York City, they fine you. They fine your building for not recycling properly. If you do not recycle things properly and you put wire hangers in the regular trash, and they'll find out. They know for some reason when they're sorting shit, they know exactly where it came from, and they fine you. It's a $200 fine for not putting your trash properly or disposing of your trash properly. It's a huge fine in New York City. And New York City is a very dirty place as it is. There's no alleys. There's no space to put dumpsters to put in trash. So trash goes literally right out on the corner, right out on the street, everywhere. I mean, and I mean, New York City is a grimy, dirty place on the exterior. Now, when you get on the interior places of New York City, it's the most palatial and ornate and decadent kind of interior design that you could ever imagine. But exterior, it's nothing to brag about. You know, the architecture and exterior in downtown Chicago is superior. The exterior and cleanliness of downtown Dallas is superior. I mean, there are plenty of other cities, urban cities, metropolises. I mean, Washington, D.C. is immaculate. And I imagine that there are serious littering issues and, I mean, litter fines in these kind of places. But in New York City, there was a fine of over $200. And when I lived in New York City, in Harlem and in Brooklyn, in these areas, I lived among, you know, I hate to say, you know, I would say middle class, working class, or lower class people. And, you know, to be fined $200 for misappropriating your trash or disposing of your trash is a hefty fine for a building to have to pay, or for people in the building to have to pay. I mean, we're working class, we're lower class. We don't have that kind of money to be, you know, shelling out because we mistakenly dispose of our trash improperly. Now, it's a two-edged sword, right? Because you want people to recycle and you want people to dispose of the trash properly, but you fine a group of people who clearly can't pay the fine, won't be able to pay the fine, and so you create this, you know, this issue. And what I started noticing when I lived in Harlem is people in their buildings wouldn't put their trash in front of their building. They would take their trash and walk it down the street, put it at the corner, because almost every corner in New York City has a public basket, a public trash basket, which I think is wonderful. And I wish more places were like that, and I wish more places invested in that type of thing, because part of the issue with people littering is they don't know where to throw their trash immediately. But that's a different issue. So a lot of people I noticed in Harlem were taking the trash and putting it on the corner trash, where the public trash bins were. They were throwing their stuff out there because they were literally afraid of being fined over $200 for throwing out their trash. Now, I think that that's extreme, right? I think it's extreme to try and bankrupt somebody into throwing their trash away properly. I mean, I don't think that teaches the lesson. And what I noticed in Harlem and Brooklyn was that they tended to be dirtier than other areas of New York City. And there was a lot more littering and things like that. Maybe because they were afraid to throw the trash out. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe there's just a lack of respect for throwing out trash and littering and everything else in those communities. I don't know what the answer is. What I do know is I find it very disgusting, whether you're in New York City or you're in Illinois or you're in Texas. I mean, if you drive down the roads of Texas, they are filthy. I mean, Texas is vast and big and, so spacious and all this stuff. But if you look on their side of the roads, their banks, their drainage, their drainage canals, it is just littered with piles of trash. I mean, to me, this is disgusting. I mean, it's a disgusting human behavior to just litter. It's disgusting to see all the trash laying around. And then people have the nerves to turn around and point fingers at other people about how they live or how dirty they are or whatever the case may be. But, this is all of our problems. This is everybody's problem, right? Littering and disposing of trash is a reflection of our human nature and our human society. If we don't have the sophistication enough to put our trash in a container and compile it, contain it, pile it up and tuck it away, if we can't do that, then I feel like not only is it just a reflection of what's in our mind and how we behave, but it's just a pure lack of decency. I mean, it's something as simple as throwing your trash in the proper receptacle, right? Another habit that breeds positive outcomes in your life and breeds discipline and responsibility is making your bed every morning, right? Getting up and making your bed every morning. They teach that in the military and everything else, but one of it's bigger than just you made your bed and it looks clean. It's about discipline. It's about responsibility and respect, right? And making your bed or putting trash in the proper receptacles. It's just, if you can't do it, it's beyond laziness. And, I find it offensive. I'm very offended by people's inability to put trash where it belongs. You don't need to fine people $200 to recycle. That is beyond excessive. Absolutely. It's beyond excessive. But people also need to take the time to just put the trash where it belongs. It's a common respect for everybody else who lives among you. And we all live among somebody. And it's a common respect for that. Your inability to do those types of things, to take care of your stuff. Part of taking care of it is putting trash where it belongs, taking care of your home, taking care of your appliances, taking care of stuff, right? Take care of it. If you don't deserve it if you can't take care of it. And, I'll go back to this whole issue of white flight and it doesn't have to be necessarily white flight. It's class flight, right? Nobody wants to live among people or allow people to live among them who don't have those basic skills. So if you wonder why people make it very difficult for you in the working class or you in the lower class to try and move into better or move on up and out and upgrade in something different, take a reflection of your own behaviors. Because something as simple as throwing out your trash tells people around you a lot about the type of person you are. And that's what I'm on my soapbox today. Think about it. Other than that, have a wonderful day. Be kind, be good, be blessed, be positive, look for positive energy, try to exude goodness and high vibration, right? I'm on this new study right now about vibration and frequency. A long time ago, it was called metaphysics and ether, and they took this type of education out of our American education system. Metaphysics, right? Metaphysics. Look it up. It was critical to education, certainly in the Greek eras and the Kemet era and the Egyptian era and all of these other areas way through history. Actually, it was prevalent in American education system up until about 1905 to 1910. Ether, right? We're talking about metaphysics. I might be, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I strenuously suggest that you Google it and become versed in it, right? Metaphysics and ether. And it's about your body's operation. You know, everyone talks about energy and vibe. That's a part of what we're talking about with frequencies and vibrations within your body, low vibrations, high vibrations, right? And my advice as I sign off on this is look that up and strive for a high vibration, right? Strive for the high vibrations and start to educate yourself about the metaphysics and your frequencies and your energy. Start to look at that kind of stuff. It's amazing, and I actually kind of believe it. Just as much as I believe in the Abrahamic religions, I also believe in the existence of the frequencies and vibrations and metaphysics and things like that. It's fascinating, and I think that there's a combination of both for better living. So I say that to say, take care. I'll talk to you soon. By the way, one more thing before I take off. I'm going to go see the movie American Fiction. I'm so excited to see this film. I hope it lives up to the hype. I adore Jeffrey Wright as an actor. He's the main character in this movie. I'm getting ready to go see it today, and I can't wait. So my next slam is going to be about American Fiction. So stay tuned, and like I said, operate on a high vibration. Be good, be kind.